Check 1, 2.
Check 3, 4.
Check 5, 6.
Check 7, 8.
9, 10. Let's go.
Hey guys, welcome to the 2023 CrossFit Issaquah Open Recap Show. I am Stacy, joined with
Nick.
Ian.
And Mike. Wow.
Okay.
It's good to be here.
This is going to be a great show. Yeah, so we decided to get up here and just kind of talk about what we saw, the highs and lows, reveal some, standings, give some member shout outs, all of the above, because I think we all agree that it was really fun and it was really great for the gym and we all got a lot out of it, maybe. So yeah, we just kind of wanted to recap the last little bit. Opening thoughts, gang.
I really enjoyed this year's. I didn't know I was going first. I really enjoyed this year's Open. I think this is the closest I've felt to the community in a little while. Not because there haven't been efforts and great moments, but this was just a really great time for everyone between East and West to be together. And so I enjoyed the community aspect over anything.
Yeah, I think the intramural side really brought things out with the 4 teams, and I was pleasantly surprised with how much people bought into each team, right? Decorating West, we struggled to determine who won Spirit each week.
It was real close.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. I mean,
It was real close for 2 teams every week.
Yeah. We won't say what teams it was. But yeah, I think it exceeded.
Yeah.
No, that's a
You
little
okay
high.
over
Now.
there?
Yeah. I think it exceeded all of our expectations, honestly.
Yeah.
We were I feel like we had 20 people signed up with 5 days before it started, and then by the time we got everything rolling, there was 75 people going. So yeah, I mean, I thought it was awesome. It was obviously a lot of work, but I think it was very worth it.
And I think, too, it was a pretty good mix of East versus West people. I know we're one gym and all, but having the 2 locations, I know that 2022, it was heavily favored, way more people from West doing it. And so I think this year it felt a lot more, ratio is a lot more even.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool. On some of the Friday nights, we had East people coming over to West to either do the workout or just kind of come to support their team, which I thought was really cool. And I think, good old-fashioned competition always brings people together, right? So you kind of bonded with people on your team, whether you wanted to or not. You got people's phone numbers and they got your phone numbers. But yeah, I did. I liked the everybody kind of coming together. Some people came on Saturday mornings. So yeah, that crossover, like Mick said and Ian said, was really awesome.
Did you guys actually like the workouts though? If we're talking about the meat and potatoes of the Open?
No, definitely not. I like the workouts better in 2022. And partially, I guess it's because they suited me better. I didn't do this year, but I still just watching you guys do it, I was I don't know, it was just weird.
Yeah.
But I think that the first week was more of a 3rd week workout or workout you'd see as a finale thing in the past. That would have been cool.
Yeah.
The week 2 was, I don't know, I feel like it was a chance for people to show that they really had an engine, and the thruster at the end of it made people kind of hold back a little bit. And so we never really got that true, 10 to 15 minute burner style workout. And that's usually what we see in week 1.
Yeah.
So week 1, you still got rewarded for burning through the first 4 movements, but then you hit the muscle ups, and then it was that was the barrier there. And usually there's no barrier in week 1, right? The past, every year in the past, we've seen it's always been something that you can rotate through.
Yeah, it usually increases in complexity and skill.
Week to week.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was kind of weird. But, I mean, there's still good things that come from it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a good, they were good tests. People were tested across many different ways, right? It felt like a super weird way, especially the week 3, to have that be the finishing week of the Open, where it was one with movements that 80% of the gym was oh, I can't do a strict handstand push-up, so I guess I'll just go scaled. And then we're trying to convince people to go RX, right? And so I think that that's just a weird way for people to get hyped. Like we saw it with even how many people showed up to West. Like West week 3 was the lowest attendance of the 3 weeks, right? And so I think like if I was writing the Open, cool, I'd switch it. Week 1 would be week 3. That's one that everyone can do the movements. Everyone can be like standing around yelling at people.
Wait, week 1 would be
the last week.
Snatch week and handstand push-ups?
No, week 1.
Oh,
no, I'm just saying the workout from week 1.
Yeah. Quad 1 would be in week 3.
Right, totally, which is, a longer workout. People can get around and yell at people in rowers, that sort of thing. Like I think for me, the cool part of the Open, I'm not going to the CrossFit Games, was it is the hype of next year, the hype of everybody around.
You got
right?
this.
And so I think week 3 was kind of an anticlimactic finish to the Open. Am I supposed to look at the camera this whole time? I mean, I don't know.
No, you can look wherever you want.
I wrote essays in college, and Earthly just did this video stuff, so I don't really know.
Freaking nerds.
Yeah, major.
I would have gone to the second workout first, then the third workout second, and the first workout last. I would have gone 2, 3, 1. If I could have.
I agree with that. The second workout would have been,
like a good entry.
That was just weird. I don't know. I don't want to keep being like, guys, did you know I didn't do the Open? I was just standing there watching you. But it was not fun to watch the second workout.
No.
That shuttle run. And I mean, the thruster was cool, but I don't know. That was, interesting.
To interrupt Mike talking about standing around watching, I think it's just really important in his boring to watch workout. He no-rep me on a run. So
I don't remember that, actually.
Dropping this pretty early.
I remember failing
like my
on
second or third run, and I got called back. Which is humiliating, and probably where all those 90 reps came from. Is that what
I had a rough week. I messed up judging Caleb, and I thought he was never going to want me as his judge again. And then week 3, he asked me to be his judge, and I was like, all right, we're still cool. So that was cool.
Validation for you.
Yeah, it was, So, anyways, whatever,
Yeah, that's going to come up a few times. Yeah, my whole thing too is like the whole CrossFit Open, like from I would assume like the headquarter levels, like you guys were talking about, is like an escalation in like community and involvement and stuff. And the last 3 years that I've done it, it's definitely felt like that last workout was something that people did get like super hyped for. But like having even just the time frame that it was only 6 minutes, I think that was like people even just saw that and were like, right? It was not like exciting. And there were a lot of like, not just in week 3, but there were a lot of limiting movements that I think maybe deterred people from like getting super excited or like maybe, I don't know, like getting like fired up, even as like an athlete, right? Like on week 1 and week 2 kind of had a similar like vibe, right? So it's like there was something that you kind of like paced a little bit because you really wanted to get to that second thing, whether it was a thruster or the ring muscle up, right? And
some people went all out for that. I'm sorry. Some people went all out on that first one if they knew they weren't going to get the muscle up.
Yeah.
That's very true. And what I need to address right now is that we had a minor microphone snafu. There were 4 microphones up here. And now I have been tasked with sharing it with the microphone whore over here. So if you see a lot of this back and forth, apologies. We will get this dialed. But at this point, that's kind of where we're at. So but back to what I was saying and Mike was saying, you could go all out on it. Yeah. But like if you were trying to save something to get like your first ring muscle up or whatever.
You mean for the magic? Because this is where the magic is.
Shout out to Tam.
Can you stop getting over it here like this? Just pull it.
I'm just going to stop. Okay.
Just pull it.
Yeah. I want to shout out Tam because that was actually probably
the funniest moment of the Open.
The funniest moment of the entire Open. We were doing the Saturday morning showdown on 23.3 and Tam was doing her handstand push-ups and was struggling, as all of us were. And she hits the bottom and she just starts pushing, goes, "This is where the magic happens!"
And time.
And all of us just started cracking up. And it was hilarious. So Tam, you gave us the funniest moment of all 3
That
weeks.
is wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking about moments, I don't think I've fist pumped harder in the last, since I've seen Jersey Shore than when Kate Kate
Oh,
Z,
yeah.
big shout out. She got up there and started busting the handstand.
last workout.
In the last workout. Mike, I think you looked over and I was like, yeah. I was like, cold-blooded killers, we're getting some points. Yeah, we needed it. Appreciate it.
Still didn't help.
Okay, so speaking of cold-blooded killers, points, and Mike's snarky comment, why don't we go back to, so like we did our intramural thing. We had our teams. We had a lot of spirit. We had a lot of effort. We had a lot of people submitting scores. Like everything that we wanted kind of happened. Like there was a lot of planning from this group that went into this whole process. And like we really wanted to make it a great event for everybody in the gym. Like people that had never done the Open, people that are veterans. Like we really wanted to make this something that was going to bring us together, but then also challenge people and like give people confidence, right? And like the intramural thing was awesome. We had teams, we came together. But at the end of the day, there are winners and losers, as I tell my students. So, okay, let's not snowflake it out. I'm not saying we're losers, but we did have a point system. So maybe we want to talk a little bit about how the standings finished and give some winners their due.
Yeah, I mean, I like you guys have all seen the email about the points and the breakdown there. I specifically reached out to my team and kind of told them how we were able to come away with the victory. The other teams.
You told them?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, guys. Sorry, Lumberjacks.
Well, yeah, I think it's easier for the winning team to it's. I don't feel noble about it being like, guys, by the way, it'd be harder to be like, hey, we were second or we were third. It's easy for me to reach out and be like, yo, Team Black, we won. Anyways, here's the deal. I feel like I did have an advantage because I think I'm at both gyms more than the three of you. So I knew kind of like who to pick in terms of groups that would rally around each other. The 5:30 a.m. Black Magic squad, that was key.
They showed out.
We had a spirit of the Open winner weeks 1 and week 3. So Kirsten Green won Spirit of the Open week 1, and then Levi won week 3. I think he had like a different outfit for like everything that we did, which was awesome. But yeah, the points thing, like there was a lot of points that were rewarded to teams with top 3 RX athletes, which was cool to see because that was different, pretty different every week. We did the 4v4 thing, which was the average of the top 4 RX finishers for each team, whether it was male or female. And then those were the 2 performance things. And then, everyone got a point per submission. First, right? So PRs, if you got your first handstand push-up or you PR'd your snatch or thruster or whatever. And then, the spirit things were huge. That was like a big swing, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I want to ask Stacy how you guys have more to give on this.
I was going to say, Mike, what's the rest of the top 4 finishers? We
final
just heard a lot
standings?
about Black
I'm
Magic.
sorry.
Yeah. It's like,
I thought
over here.
I thought we were going to go around and
I don't really care about the standings, but I'm just going to talk about my own
So
team.
anyways,
I'm
my
sorry.
nobility wants you to know that.
I thought you guys wanted me to give my deal on Team Black, and then you guys would. Anyways, so Team Black won, but it was a tough battle with mixed team throughout. We were actually behind going into week 3. I told my team that, and we pulled it out. We had a huge week 3. Ian's team was close also, and
So Black Magic was number 1. Lumberjacks came in second.
Thank you.
And then third place was Tropic Thunder. What's the name of your team?
Summer solstice?
I was going to say,
Summers.
what a memorable team.
Tacky Tourists and Cold-Blooded Killers closed us out. But I really liked seeing Cold-Blooded Killers. I think you guys had a few people who went all out on your outfits, and that was awesome. Like where Black Magic, we argued a little bit about there was a lot of volume, but Cold-Blooded Killers, like Katie Walter, like every week, just
True. Very true.
so good.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. It's just fun.
Anyways, Cold-Blooded Killers, I'm proud of you. I enjoyed everyone on my team, and I thought it was awesome when Vlad walked in his snow boots.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we had Katie as Santa. We had the 10 a.m. gals. They really kicked it off that first Friday, and we were they sent photos, and I was like, okay, we're doing this.
Here's my knock on the snow team. from a spirit standpoint. My main knock is
the
that
name of our team.
I'm not going to call you guys the cold-blooded killers. You guys were just ski patrol, snow team, whatever. Here's my knock against snow team is that it was cold enough to where sometimes when the people came in, it legit looked like they were just coming in from the outside. So my point with that is everyone has ski clothes.
So you're saying that my team should have been awarded extra points? I mean, Sabah showed up with no shirt on.
Yeah.
We're talking about how cold
What
it
a
is,
rarity.
so,
And then
team
you mean
Sabah.
you mean that Black Magic couldn't just wear what you're wearing right now and walk in off the street?
but
I
no
think
one
Mike
did.
actually wear that on week 3.
did.
I think this is what he wore.
I did,
so,
and
yeah.
I even acknowledged that.
Somehow we gave him the win. I don't get that.
I said that on week, you know what? On week 3 when we voted for this, I was like, you guys, I didn't do a lot this week, and I do feel like everyone else on my team did do quite a bit. So you guys vote as you see fit, and
Lumberjacks, I'm really sorry, but our spirit was low.
that's okay.
Our
Like,
spirit was low. We did carry in weeks 1 and 2 from performance, but that was like I think by the end of this 3 weeks, we had a lot more people wearing like their flannel, and shout out to Nish for bringing a power tool, and Alex Vachon, who brought a real axe, like a really heavy axe.
Terrifying, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. But
Then-
in terms of spirit, we lost every week.
And I don't know, Tropic Solstice, I am maybe not the most convinced with the results here. I think what we talked about was, although our team showed up the hardest, like we had the highest volume of people there, we stayed the longest, we had the best decorations at West. Wow, we should have won now that I'm saying these out
Best
loud.
decorations.
But
No.
but now that we're talking about it, right, like there was more individual standouts on other teams, and when we were going to vote for it, the individual standouts were what mattered, right? Like we had a bunch of people that wore Hawaiian shirts and sunglasses, cool, but no one like showed up carrying their surfboard.
And
or something like that,
let's
you know?
clarify, when we say that like maybe there was a lull in spirit, we don't mean like internal spirit from the heart. We're just talking about, oh, you're not a psychopath like me that spent 4 days trying to put together an outfit.
Basically, this
which is
turned into a
understandable.
costume party pretty quick.
you actually went to Tacoma to get an outfit, didn't
Stacey
you?
literally mugged someone for her.
First of all, yes, I did go to Tacoma, but I was already going there, and I can't help it if the stars aligned.
Wow. Wow.
I feel so awkward when I don't have the mic and I want to say something to like buffer you and they don't say anything. So thanks for swinging it over
So
to me.
anyways, continuing with the general
So-
spirit here.
Yeah, are we good on spirit? You guys
Well,
wanna-
one more call out here.
Yep.
We talked individual spirit of the open for each week, right? So we had the week 1 and week 3, but then got a shout out to April Slee for week 2.
Get it, girl.
And we pretty unanimously voted for this one just because we're looking at what and how April showed up for the open, right? And that was, well, she went at 5:30 a.m. on Friday to watch Rhiannon, one person on our team, go. She was there, I think maybe the first person there on Friday, was there all day Friday, did the workout, crushed the workout, but was cheering for everybody, and then showed up here at East on Saturday because Callan was going here. And so I think that level of like, to me, that's what open spirit is. And
Yeah,
like,
for
cool.
sure.
And
It's
she
like-
cheered on like other people.
Cheered on everybody
Yeah,
and stuff,
It
and
wasn't
so-
just her own team.
Yeah,
It was
and
cool.
Kirsten Green did that too. I mean, she was on your team, but I mean, we all noticed. We're like, damn, she was there on Friday.
Yeah.
She was like decked out. She was cheering, and then she came Saturday, did the workout, stuck around. Levi the same. It was yeah.
And Levi brought cookies, so
Oh,
I mean,
shout out.
I guess we got to give that.
Yeah, and there was obviously close calls, right? Like Kirsten and Diane Mann had pretty similar outfits for like a couple weeks. Like they leaned fully into the goth thing and did like the white makeup and the dark eye paint and like stuff like that. But it's like if we had to choose to give the Spirit of the Open to somebody in week 1, it was because Kirsten went to the Friday and Saturday. And again, that's not to say like next year you should try going to both if you want Spirit of the Open. We get it. Some people have stuff going on, kids, sports things, and whatever.
Bring the kids.
No, don't bring the kids.
All right.
All right. So
Can I shout out? I don't have like dressy spirit, but I do want to shout out Peter Nilsson for having the best attitude like all 3
yeah.
weeks. He just like Peter just looked like he was having the time of his life on social media and in real life, and I loved watching him. He came in after he flew in, and then like 12 hours later, after he just flew in from Japan, did a workout with 0 complaints and smiled through it.
Baller.
yeah. that was
So
dope.
shout out to Peter Nelson because
Shout out. All right. So should we talk a little bit about?
Can I do one more spirit shout out?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, why not? Whatever. I didn't really shout out anybody on my team, but I would just like to thank. Never mind. I would like to say thank Jess for the dope snowman and bringing a bunch of stuff for the decor. And Nalima, her and her daughter made the snowflakes. So total team effort on the decor. Appreciate that.
Wow, that was well timed for the first
All right, back to you.
time ever.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. So, okay, I have some questions for you guys. Being the athletes that you are who did the Open this year, I do want to hear your guys' take. We talked a little bit about the workouts. Obviously, we just talked about spirit. But in terms of your guys' actual takeaways, how you felt about your experience, can we dive into that a little bit? Because I do think that, you know, obviously you guys are captains of your team. People look up to you, you know, whether it's from a peer standpoint or like a mentor standpoint. So, like, yeah, let's dive into it. What did you guys think about the Open? I'll just, yeah, whoever wants to start on that.
You look like you have something to say.
Yeah, Ian's doing.
You're just smiling like you got a shit-eating grin on your face.
Over and then take it away.
You got the mic already?
No. I
go.
said Ian looked like he was ready to
just
go.
calmly, ladies first. I think it's just the most
No.
polite thing.
Mick and I have ladies first did it to you. See what I did there?
We did it to you.
That's like an Uno reverse card.
Yeah.
Mick, I feel like you probably you're coming off just doing the QF workout, so you probably feel a little more prepped to talk about it.
Well, you're wrong, but in terms of like what I learned, or
I guess, how did you feel about yourself as an athlete? You reflect back on the past year of your training.
Yeah.
Obviously, we went through a little bit of a change at East with the cycles being input, venturing away from the old programming, etc. So when you think about that, and I'm not saying that all that we do is for the Open, but the Open does highlight some things, and I know that a lot of like the struggle that you went through with doing a different type of programming last year was like, whoa, am I not going to be as good at this anymore, etc.
yeah,
Right?
yeah, that was an insecurity. Like, I won't lie and say that didn't pop up in my brain when I was signing up, and I was like, oh gosh, there's a chance that I won't be as good. And in ways I wasn't, and in ways I was. I think numerically I wasn't, but I think as an athlete, from a mentality standpoint and from a pacing and like a smarter, like from the head part of it, I was like a way better athlete. The pacing that we do here now and being really, really on with percentages has helped me a ton. I think compared in years past, I would go all out, like balls to the wall, and I would be breathing hard and it'd be super intense because I'm like sweating and dying and my heart rate's at 95% within the first 2 minutes. And so it felt intense and it felt like I was like giving it my all. Whereas this year I paced everything, maybe like sometimes looking back a little bit too much, but I paced it to where I performed super solidly and I finished and I felt like everything I did was just smart. So that was like a huge change from my point of view. I also, has nothing to do with like the cycles, but this year was a huge growth year for me in being okay with like failing in front of members. Cause I think sometimes and I'm sure other people have this issue too, as a coach and as someone who like strives to be the best athlete I can be, I have this fear of failing in front of people. There's a little bit of that imposter syndrome. And I think when it came to that last workout, I had to come to terms with like, and even in the first workout, not knowing if I was going to be able to get some ring muscle ups, but I came to terms with like, if you fail, it's okay. This is what we're teaching. Like, we need to teach members that it's okay to like hit a wall and reflect on areas of growth. And this was the best I felt about failing in front of people in comparison to years past. So that got real deep, but yeah, like I felt good about the Open. I like didn't hate myself because I couldn't get strict handstand push-ups this year, but I will get them.
But you did get some.
Yeah. I doubled my score on my read. Yeah. I will say you did look like a smarter athlete this year. Yeah, not like you were wearing glasses, but like you look like your pacing and stuff was well thought out. Yeah.
Yeah. Ian, Stacy?
Oh yeah, I'll go. The open is mean sometimes, and I think that the open, like thinking about looking at my performance this year based on what if the workouts were what they were last year, and like if the workouts were the exact same, I think I'd be a quarterfinal athlete this year based on what last year was. But now looking at the workouts this year, your boy was far from that, right? Like your boy was down in the 60s. And so I think that those, if you go into the open and be like, yeah, I might be a quarterfinal guy this year. Cool. I've worked really hard the last year. Last year's work movement that I couldn't do was bar muscle up. I do bar muscle ups now, fine. I couldn't do the heavy thruster last year. I can do that weight now, fine, right? And so you're looking at the workouts last year, and then, wow, that sucks. I got in the 60th percentile this year. But hey, look, I got to the ring muscle up, and I was like, hey, look, I've never done a ring muscle up, but now I'm going to probably do a ring muscle up next year, right? Never done a strict handstand push-up before. Probably going to be able to do that next year. I think that that's what's cool about the open is it forces these movements, these skills, the strengths, all this stuff that maybe you haven't tried before. And like what I was thinking about when we were talking earlier about like highs and lows of the open in general was thinking about kind of probably the coolest moment for me was all the people PRing their thrusters on 0.2B or whatever it was, right? But what was especially cool about that is the number of people that also PR'd their power clean into their thruster because they're thinking about the thruster, right? And it's like, oh, snap, that's actually a 10-pound heavier clean than I've ever done. So I think that's what's really cool about the open. And so like from a 2023 performance standpoint, people ask me like, hey, what'd you think? It's like, I had some highs and I had some lows. I met some goals, and I definitely didn't meet some other goals. And then you fall into the, like, leaderboarding side of the open, which is a trap, right? Yeah. And, like, what everyone – I'm going to say everyone knows this. I'm not the strongest guy on a barbell, right? What? Hit me with one of those. Laugh track.
Rim shot.
So I'm not the strongest guy on the barbell, right? And so my thruster was a huge PR for me. And then you look at the leaderboard, and it's like, ooh, wow. Yeah. But I think if you pull back even further, if you look at my placing for each of the 3 workouts, we could have all guessed at how it'd be. It's like, oh, Ian in the long conditioning one, that was his best. Hey, Ian in the strength one, that was his worst. Hey, Ian in the skills one, that was his middle. So that's where we're at post-open is like, all right, we didn't do that great, but we're still kind of progressing from last year. There's a lot more things to work on now. So, yeah, 2024 open.
Yeah, there you go, for sure. Well, I wanted to go. I didn't want to go right after Mick because mine is somewhat similar. I definitely think that I was a bit smarter this year. After the first workout, that was like I think I even told you that I was the most proud of myself for not being a complete meathead and coming out on the rower as fast as I could because that's something that I've always done. And then, I could get gassed, but just, having a little bit more like knowledge and like we talked about with the pacing and just kind of like knowing where you're at as an athlete and then kind of knowing like, okay, this is how much I need to get here. Knowing myself as an athlete too. Okay, like I know I'm good at wall ball, so I can like probably bust those out pretty quick. So that first workout, I definitely I planned that out earlier in the day and then I actually stuck to a plan, which was like kind of it was a big moment for me to actually like really think through something, have a plan and then like actually execute that. And then, just kind of like what Ian said, I think that, the open, yeah, it can be mean, but I also look at a lot of these things like, I've seen a lot of growth over the last, I think this is like my 5th one. So I've seen a lot of growth and then it's like you kind of have to like realize that as you continue to grow, those margins are going to be smaller, right? I mean, obviously I was really disappointed that, I wasn't able to get my first ring muscle up. I wasn't able to get my first handstand push up. Yeah, those things are like big disappointments. I wasn't able to, do the thruster weight that I thought I was going to do. So yeah, with disappointment, but it also comes a lot more reflection for me personally. So I look at those things and I'm like, okay, what are like my deficiencies, right? Like what are some of the things that I need to get better at, right? What are the like little tweaks that I can do? And things like, ring muscle ups, that's obviously going to be a lot of technique. And so that's something that I just need to work on. But yeah, it sucks to not have those moments in the open where, I think we've all got to have a moment in the open where it was like, let's go, right? Like a couple years ago, like 2 years ago, I got to have my first bar muscle up in an open with a bunch of people there. And that was really cool. And then I got to have a battle with Stacia last year and like the muscle up off thing. And that was dope. And yeah, while there were no like big moments like that this year, like I definitely took a lot of joy out of like watching other people do things and hit PRs. And then, just like being reflective. Yeah, like Ian was saying, like some of these workouts just weren't my jam. Or like, on the week 2, like I definitely like probably saved a little bit on the first part, thinking, oh, I can front squat this, I can overhead this, I can clean this. So I'm definitely going to be able to do this when it comes to the thruster.
315.
Yeah, pretty much. And so I was like, yeah, and then you get there and you're like, oh boy, I'm tired. And this is not going up easy. So, just like kind of reflecting on some of those things, I really like get a lot out of that. And then just, seeing where you're at. And like you said, it's okay, yeah, if we would have done last year's workouts this year, I would have done great. But that's just not how any of this works, And I think that's why we all come back and we do it every year, because it's like random and we're different. And then so is the open. So it's like everything is different, and it just allows us to like, I don't know, like look at it differently and just be like, okay, well, I know that I'm here. I know that I want to be better. And this is just something that's going to help me with a little bit of a barometer, right? So, yeah.
Hey, Mike, how did your workouts go?
Thanks, guys. Well, yeah, mine were great. I usually did them after the Saturday morning showdown. It was just like a 30-minute row after everyone's done. Those were cool. Hey, guys, I got to do my arm stuff real quick. So, yeah, thanks for sharing. Yeah, I think, like, Mick, when you talked about how you were worse from a number standpoint, I talked to you about this last year.
Yeah.
You were 99th percentile in 2021, and then 2022 you dropped to 98.
I went 98, 97. This year was 96.
Okay. So the 98 to 97, when we looked at that, like the first weeks 1 and week 3 were pretty similar.
Yeah.
And it was the week 2 workout of 2022, which was the burpee deadlift, that didn't fall into your wheelhouse, that dropped you a percentile. And so the only like true way that someone could look year to year at their percentiles and be like, I'm a fitter athlete or I'm a worse athlete, is if it was the same workouts repeated.
Every single year.
And you guys all just hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
We're not repeating. And look, here's the deal. I'm a fringe qualifying athlete. If I look at the data from the past 7 years I've done the Open, I'm either like 89th or I'm 90 or 91. I'm like right around there. And that's what doing this for 10 years and like, I don't know, keeping up on my nutrition or whatever has gotten me is like, so, but here's the deal. That sways based off the workout.
Yeah.
Now, last year I know that I was able to make it because of that deadlift burpee workout. There's no skill involved really. It's stuff that I've done. And I knew that if something like this, 23.3 would have come up, I might not have made it. Do you know what I mean? So I was like, okay, well, cool, great. Everyone thinks I'm a qualifying athlete. Like, I'll just roll with this for 2022. And then didn't have to do it this year, so they still think that, which is great. But yeah, like I've made a deal with myself that I don't really care enough about snatching.
Yeah.
My mobility sucks. I'm working on it, guys. And yeah, I just can't, like if I watch someone do a heavy snatch, I don't think even at my strongest I could do that. And a long time ago, I think subconsciously I was like, I don't care enough to. So my point is, everyone makes a deal with themselves at some point in the Open or just in terms of fitness throughout the year.
Yeah.
They either don't care enough about their nutrition, they don't care enough about their mobility, they don't care enough about getting stronger. And I guess that kind of leads into what we'll talk about next, right? Which is just like what people can actually work on to like reach their goals. Now, if your goal is just to be a qualifying athlete, top 10%, I think like Ian hit the nail on the head. Next year, he's going to have these skills that, right? We were just like a year behind, but like we were practicing all this bar muscle up, wall walk, you know, like stuff like that. And the wall walks did come up, but then they're like, great, now when you're done with 2 rounds of that, then you got to do strict handstand push-ups. And I think we were all like, wait, what? And that wasn't what it was last year. And I am guilty of being like, okay, they took ring muscle ups and strict handstand push-ups out of the open. We'll only see them in quarters from now on.
Yeah.
And then like all of our stuff is kind of geared around bar muscle ups and wall walks and whatever. So that's just to say, like, yeah, I think if you're a fringe qualifying athlete, you just have to be okay with like year to year, you might have some fluctuation there. But yeah, I don't know if that makes sense. So I wouldn't look at it like you're a worse athlete. I think all of you guys looked awesome, honestly. Like, yeah, sure, there were skills that came up and bit you guys in the butt, but if I'm just judging you from like a coaching standpoint, I was like really, really proud of how you guys did. And I think it did set a good example that the way you guys paced through stuff, yeah, that was key. You thrustered more than you thought you could, you know, and that was something you weren't even able to do that 2 months ago prior when we did it, when we were fresh, right? Like, so I think there were a lot of like wins even. And dude, it's hard to make qualifiers as a guy. It really is. Like, it's not a knock against you guys, but even with your disappointing open, you still made QFs and like, you know. So anyways, I won't go off on a tangent there, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely agree with all those things you said. And I think that kind of transitions us into kind of like the next thing that we're going to talk about. I mean, we all said like the Open provides us just like a platform to like just kind of take some inventory, right? It brings up stuff that maybe we don't do all the time, and then it kind of gives us, okay, we want to work more on this. Or, I have really weak wrists when it comes to the thrusters, and there are technique things that with my strength, I should be able to do more weight, right? So then those conversations start to come up with your coaches about like, okay, well, if I have the strength and I have the mobility, then what's missing? Right? Or if I'm, if I have the mobility and I have the gymnastics skills, then what's missing, right? Am I too heavy? Am I not mobile? Like there's going to be something. And I think we all, like, especially with all of us being in the gym, the amount that we are, we see our members and our friends that, like you get this fire, like after the Open, right? Like maybe you get a first in something at the Open, or you didn't get a first and now that's like kind of all you want to do. And so we see people start to fixate on these things like dubs or pull-ups or muscle-ups and stuff like that. So we kind of wanted to talk about just like what comes next, right? So if you're somebody that obviously wants to achieve certain things next year or even next month, how do you go about doing that?
Yeah, I think it's important too that like even though we just finished the Open and what we're talking about here is the Open, like rather than in 12 months it'll be my goal to do one ring muscle, right? Like it's not necessarily that. Like we've got 11 and a half months of classes, 11 and a half months time you can get better, where like PRs feel honestly just as good when you're not in the Open as well, right? And so I think what's cool about the Open is it definitely highlights these things, and it definitely like, oh snap, we had a bunch of people on the Tropic team, 3 or 4 get their first double unders in the Open workout, right? Which is cool because those were 4 people. They're like, oh, I can't do double unders. Yeah. Then, oh snap, like Allie knocked out 40 of them or something like that. You know? So it's like, yeah, you can do those. And then now for the next 12 months, guess what? We know that now. So you're probably going to do double unders, right? And so I think that kind of like going off what Stacy says, like it doesn't necessarily just mean like, okay, next Open I will.
Right. Yeah.
Can I say what not to do? So I think what you were talking about is really, we get really fired up after the Open and then we're like, oh yeah. Oh, better?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey. I think we get really fired up after the Open, and I'm someone who's been in the camp, and I know people are doing it because I'm seeing it here in the gym, where we leave the Open and we're like, oh, hell yeah, I'm going to do this right now, right here. And we're at the middle end of a cycle where like we might not be ready to like throw all this skill work in, and we might need to like ramp it up slowly, or we might need to wait until a different cycle, or we might need prerequisites. So I think the worst thing you can do, and I've done this in the past, is like all of a sudden change your programming or add a whole bunch of stuff in, because it's not the right time. Like I don't think for anyone, there's maybe very few people who like right after the Open can just throw a bunch of skill in, and it's not anybody at our gyms, I don't think.
Yeah.
So if you leave the Open, you're like, oh, I'm going to get better at snatching, and every day you're snatching and it's like 85% and above, it's not going to help you. Or handstand push-ups, but that's what you want to do. You're like, I'm going to attack this issue right now, but I promise you it's not what works, because I did that last year after strict handstand push-ups in the quarterfinals, and I still struggle with them.
Yeah.
I did that the year before with ring muscle. Like, it just doesn't work that way. So that's what not to do.
And Mike and I have talked about this a lot too. Like, hey, we already said, Ian, you're not strong on the barbell. Cool. I'm like, oh, sweet. I have extra time in the morning. I could back squat and deadlift every single day for the next 365 days. Will that make me better?
Yeah.
Right? And the answer is no, is my understanding, because I'm not doing that currently.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's like the guy who doesn't get a good Fran score, and then he just does thrusters at 95, like thinking that's like every day for the next 3 months. When really, like, what's the deficiency there? If someone struggles with a 95-pound thruster, it's a what?
Conditioning.
No. It's if you jack up your front squat, like, it's going to make you a better Fran athlete, right? Yeah. Now, what's the downside to like just dedicating all of your time and energy to jacking up your front squat? Like, let's say someone like went on a strength cycle and they're trying to drink a gallon of milk a day to do that.
Lactose.
Yeah, sure. You could develop some sort of intolerance, but also like performance-wise.
Yeah. You're missing out on all the other things. Like, we want all of if we have like 6 test tubes, we want them all to rise. And while we might want one of them to
test
rise.
What?
Test tubes.
Oh, tubes. Yeah.
God, you sickos.
Okay.
But we're our goal from a gym and like as your coaches is for all of those levels to rise.
Yeah.
And maybe one of them rises a little faster, like we have a focus for certain athletes, but we want everything to continue to get better.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, you're saying the exact thing like I was trying to say. It's just that if someone dedicated all their time to getting their front squat better, right, they're probably going to get heavier if they're not conditioning and they're just trying to jack their squat up. That then affects their, their anaerobic capacity, their aerobic capacity, and their ability to actually like move through a gymnastic movement like the pull-up. But like you see these sways in emphasis, and it's just like what you talked about. The same person that's like, oh, I can't do a strict handstand push-up, hopping upside down, trying to bang their head on the floor every day doing it. Really, like what is it boiling down to? It's usually just like your shoulder strength, your ability to control your body. But again, you can't get too heavy to where like if you just try to be Johnny strict press and like again, so it's the same sort of thing, right? Now that's an actual guy. I went to high school with him. Yeah. Middle name Strict.
He sounds hot.
Damn it. Now I just remember Ian and I went to high school together.
So I don't remember him. What is it? Different groups, I guess. I don't know. Bellevue College.
Yeah. But no, the cool thing about the Open, seriously, is that these little movements like a ring muscle up or a handstand push up or not being strong enough. Yeah. Little movements. Not being strong enough to do the 135 snatch. These aren't really like skill deficiencies. A lot of times they just boil back to, or like point directly back to deficiencies that we train all year, which is strength and conditioning. And if someone comes to class 5-6 days a week, they do all the strength, they do all the conditioning, and something's still missing, you guys know what the answer is. Like all of you have done stuff outside of the gym to try to improve your performance inside the gym. So if someone was like, yo, dude, like, I just like my total bar sucks. I can't blah, blah, blah. Like I need to lose 10 pounds or whatever. What are you guys going to tell them to do? Like, you know the answer. Okay, well, you know what? How many calories do you eat? Right? It's like there are macro answers to micro problems. And that's what's cool about the Open. And a lot of times if someone has all the macro answers dialed in, like you guys do, you all track your food. You all hit pretty much the same amount of calories and macronutrients every day. You all do your accessory work. Then you can start looking at the micro stuff. Okay, all right, well, dude, Ian, maybe we just need to like get you on the rings, get you more familiar with that stuff. Or, dude, yeah, I can tell when you try to do a pull-up, like your shoulders and your biceps want to do all of it, your lats aren't doing anything. So that's going to make it hard for you when you hop up on the rings to generate power, etc. I can be more like fine-tuned with someone like Ian who has all the other stuff in place. But if someone's coming to me and they're like, well, dude, I watched, Kate bang out 20 strict handstand push-ups, and they're in year 1 and they don't do anything but come to 3 classes a week, it's really hard to, well, I guess it's not hard. You just have to explain to them, hey, man, it's not as like sharp of a point as you think it is. It can be a pretty broad stroke that'll get you to probably where you want to go. Does that make sense? Yeah.
People get wrapped up in all those like fun drills, and because it's like cool to be on your hands, but what it boils down to is the basics, and that's not sexy stuff. It's like basic things that aren't fun in the gym, but we have to do them.
Well, I think it's important for everybody to be pretty realistic with themselves as far as like the deficiencies go, right? So I think I had my biggest jump year 2 to year 3 at the Open. I did not train for the Open. I did not do any sort of bar muscle up training. I just lost a bunch of weight with nutrition and accessories, right? So like you're saying, it's not like I came into the gym and worked on the muscle ups or even like the double unders. Like obviously being lighter, it was easier for me like cardiovascularly, but also like just the movement of a double under by being lighter. And so like you're saying, it's like if you don't have those macro things dialed in, the micro things are kind of like a moot point. But one thing I did maybe want to ask, like, so you talked about like handstand stuff, 135 snatch. So what if somebody, it's like, and then you talked about like some pull-ups a little bit, but what if like it's like some of the smaller stuff, right? Like toe to bars, like somebody got their first toe to bar and then they want to get better and be able to do them in workouts, or the double unders, because that seems like something that people come in and just like, okay, I'm just going to do a bunch of double unders every time I come to class and then I'm going to get better. Does that work? Or like, are these like extra things that people are just doing on their own? Like, is that injury prone? Is that counterproductive? I mean, like, what's your take on that?
So you're asking like what movements people could actually like treat?
Like, what's your advice as far as like if somebody like with those kind of things, like should they be coming in and doing, 200 double unders a day, or is that counterproductive? Is that like an injury thing?
Yeah, so I think some movements are actually like shooting a basketball. Like you could, everyone knows the whole deal. Michael Jordan shot 1,000 free throws a day. So the problem with doing that with most movements is that they are taxing on your nervous system. You can't come in and do 1,000, hanging TikToks on a bar every day to get a rhythm down, because you're eventually going to develop tendonitis in your elbow, or you're going to tear your hand or whatever. So there's like diminishing returns if you do stuff too often. Now, the main diminishing return to like a double under is it's just a lot of like wear and tear on your Achilles. So, but that is probably like the lowest impact movement that you could come in and practice every day and be fine doing. All I'm going to say is if someone did develop, something going on with their calf or like a strain over time. What's the thing that runners get? I'm drawing a blank. On the
Plantar fasciitis.
Plantar fasciitis. Thank you.
Word,
Yeah. So if they develop plantar fasciitis, I wouldn't be surprised if I found out they were doing 200 double unders a day.
Right.
So there's rules to stuff that I just like have tried to adhere to for a while. You're only supposed to do 40 total reps of box jumps per week. That's like a athletic plyometric rule, right? And somewhere along the way, like CrossFit just forgot about that. Think about a workout like Filthy 50, where you do a set of 50 box jumps. We've all done open workouts where we definitely do more than 40. Yeah. But if someone ever like wonders how they get better at box jumping, it's not doing sets of 50 or sets of 100. There's a specific way to do that. You can't do hanging stuff on the bar every day. You could if you limited your volume. Like if you said, I'm only going to hop up and do 10 hanging beat swings every day. I'm going to do it every day for the rest of my life. You might be okay. But people don't do that. They hop up and they do 3-4 sets of 10 every day until they've got the rhythm down. So you should do like 2 pull days and 2 push days. Okay, so like Monday, Thursday, I'm going to do hanging stuff on the bar. This is just using gymnastics as an example. Tuesday, Friday, I'm going to do pushing stuff. Now, the problem there, or like the challenge, is lining that up with the other stuff you're doing. When are you pushing a barbell? When are you pulling? Like when are you doing strict pull-ups in class or ring rows or whatever? Like how does it line up with the rest of your stuff? So there's like a balance and just like a harmony to all of it, and adding in stuff on your own that doesn't fit in line with that can really be, counterproductive. Every time I've tried to do it, or I've tried to give someone more accessory than what they think they should be doing, they get hurt. And like, I'm a victim of that also. So that's why I'm sure people are sick of hearing it by now. Oh, we get it. Like, Mike likes going slow on stuff, and he's like big into progressions and whatever. But I'm really just looking out for you guys, because the way I see it is, if I have all these things dialed in my life, in terms of my nutrition and like my sleep, let's just pretend that's dialed in, and me doing the same, no matter what my program said for the past 11 years, I've done it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not someone who just decides when I wake up, I don't feel like going to the gym today. So if I have all that stuff dedicated towards my fitness lifestyle, and I still have to be conservative about the extra stuff I add in, then you better believe I'm going to be conservative about the average gym goer who's doing it. And that's not to say that I'm not an average gym goer. I am, but I have more of the stuff dialed in than most people, and I still get hurt. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that was kind of like.
So like, yeah, and if someone's not hurt yet, like if someone's in year 2, year 3, and they're like, yo, lay it on me, big dog. Like, let me see. I want to see what I can do. And this is kind of mixed deal. Like,
can you be really specific about who said "lay it on me"?
Literally
big dog.
just said,
I'd like
this
to know
is
which member. Like,
Mick did not say that.
I'm big dog in this situation.
Okay.
But this is why it's valuable to have a third party, like an outside point of view, because even though you read this stuff or you hear it from people, in your brain you're like, oh, but I can do it. Like, I'm tough. Like, if I push a little bit more.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, why this year has been different for me in terms of smarter training, because this is the first time that I've had I've listened to a program as strictly.
Right.
So the third outside view, not the third party, but like the outside view is so important.
You mean someone looking at you as an athlete being like, hey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like you as like a coach. Like your outside view means somebody like
the coach of your class in this situation, or for like, I think what we're addressing, it would be Mike, because he's the one programming, Mike and Nick. Like,
it could be any one of us, right? Like, we all know what to do.
Right.
You're right. Yeah.
Right. But I'm saying, like, if someone's looking to add extra, like, the first person we're going to go to is you, because you have the overview of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Usually the answer is just going to be no.
Yep.
No, I'm kidding. But like, just talk to me about it, because even right now with the accessory stuff after the Open, like, I'm not going to sit here and be one of those people who's like, just trust the plan, you guys. I know you all want to get up on the rings, but if we keep doing, these bent over rows and stuff in due time, I don't think like that. I just think that like that stuff is like your meat and potatoes, the bent over rows, the showing up to class, or whatever. I'm going to give people the ice cream, which is practicing doing muscle up stuff, if they're eating the meat and potatoes, and if I feel like they're ready, obviously. But here's the deal. If someone like looks like they can get up there and they just need to lose weight, like let's say their technique is totally fine, I don't need to have them doing like ring turnovers on a low set of rings.
Right.
Like, they've clearly shown if they can do like the turnover fast enough or whatever, they just need a better like strength to body weight ratio. There's an easier way for me to fix that than having them do like hanging swings on the rings and whatever. No matter how gymnastic I can make them, it's not going to be as gymnasty as they want it if they're not like, leaning out. It's just how it goes. Honestly, like, I hate that I don't hate it. It's just life.
I just like gymnasty.
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah. I threw that in there because I feel like we have, diverse group watching. You never know who's going to.
No, you didn't even know you said it.
Still watching at this point is the real question.
Nobody's still. We're approaching a 60-minute mark. So yep.
This is a feature.
Yeah, we
film,
started 5
actually.
minute late though.
Yeah, it was like 7.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Okay. All right. Dig it. So yeah, I don't know if you guys have more specific questions than that, but yeah.
Sure.
Say it.
Yeah, I got a question. How do you feel about
pineapple on pizza?
The best practice being good practice, right? Like using double unders, for example. Like, are people going to get the same benefit as like, cool, we just finished class. We just finished 100% Metcon, 5 minutes full send. Cool, I'm going to go grab a jump rope and work on my double unders.
Yeah.
That
okay.
versus, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like Like, is that benefit still going to exist for people?
No.
Like, hey, we're shooting 3 free throws.
Yep.
But we just played a full game type deal.
Yeah. No, I was just talking with Stacy about this the other day. It's like are the 1,000 free throws good if your form sucks? Or should you just have someone come in and like fix your shooting form and then maybe shoot 100 a day? But yeah, dude, to your example, there's specific things that you need your nervous system to be more like fresh for, and that's skill stuff. So doing Olympic lifting and doing gymnastic stuff before your strength and conditioning part of the workout is optimal. Doing it after is not. So if you come in, you back squat a 3x5, and then you do a WOD, and then you're trying to like, dial in your toe to bar technique or whatever, unless the thing that you're going for is practicing fatigue toe to bars so that when you hop up and try to do them fresh, they automatically feel better, then maybe I could see where you're coming from. But no, it's never going to be as
just
optimal.
From the learning a new skill side of things, right? Like all that.
I don't think so. Because then you're diving into a real like neuromuscular part of it where like things aren't firing the same when you're fatigued as they are when you're. So if you're trying to, it's like you guys, people who had never done a muscle up, after all that other rowing, wall ball, toe to bar stuff, it's like you can kind of just say you're probably not going to get the ring muscle up. Mm-hmm. There's more skill involved than a bar muscle up. So like people you've seen fatigued grunt themselves up on a bar, doing that on the rings is a little bit different. So no, skill wise, I don't think that's a extreme example, but I don't think it usually works out the way people want it to. And I think at the end of the day, people are just like, I'm willing to do whatever it takes. There's some part of the open that like lights this fire in all of us. It's like, you know what? I want to be better, but people just don't have like a roadmap, I guess, to be better. So that's the key.
I don't know if it's, and I think just the last thing I'll say, it's sometimes it's not the road they want to take, right? So like, I think with the open, you get into, I want to do this, I want to be better, I want to get this, I want to get that. And it's either, it can, there can just be a lot of roadblocks. Sorry to use this metaphor over and over, but I'm going to, right? Roadblocks, or it's not the road they want to do, right? So it's not the kind of training that they want to do. So they're like, well, I'm just going to train to do CrossFit, right? But then maybe there's an injury, or.
Is that the road less traveled, perhaps?
Boo. Nailed it. No, but yeah, just as far as like, not just like I don't want to take this road, but then also like, I think, like with ego stuff, like, oh, like I'm an elite athlete, I shouldn't have to like do these little movements, right? So I think whatever the open does for you, like at least kind of like be honest with yourself and what you've done in the past year. Like I can say like going into this open, I don't think it was my like best year going into the open. Right. And so like, okay, well, what was different? What do I need to change? What are my goals moving forward? And then kind of like realistically say to myself, okay, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, and I'm going to stick to it. Mm-hmm. Right. Because I think the other thing that we kind of need to like, encourage all of our members to do is like, don't just have a goal because of the open, because that motivation, that really peters off. Right. Because like the open's over for a month and you start to forget about that. And so that can't really be like your motivation. Because again, it's not going to come around for another 11 months. So there has to be something else like within you and your training or your weight loss or whatever. That is actually what's driving you to like get better. And then, spoiler alert, the results kind of take care of themselves. Am I right?
Yeah.
Guys?
I think you scared Ian and Mick on that.
It's okay.
Yeah, no, I mean, I hate the motivation thing. It's 100%. It's discipline. Yeah, it's not motivation. Like what it boils down to is people being disciplined about, and all the stuff we just talked about.
Yeah, because
sorry.
Well, you're gonna lose motive. It's just like at the beginning of the year, and we've talked about this before. It's like a New Year's resolution thing. It's the same thing as the open. It's the open New Year's resolution, right? Where it's like, you have this motivation because something just happened, but until like you dial in that discipline, you're not gonna have that like progress that you would if like. You just show up every day and just do what you got to do every single day. That's it, right? And then the next year, you're going to be flying high, baby. You're going to be living the dream on them rings.
Wow, so many crickets in this room. I'm going to call an exterminator.
It's not even on a road, which is crazy. Yeah.
I deserve that.
Good Lord.
You just got so close.
But hey, here's the deal. I just want to say one more thing.
In closing.
I feel like at Bridesmaids where they keep trying to like one up each other. So, and you know, Helen is such a great friend, or what's her name? Okay, so
God, where is this going?
I'll tell you. What I was gonna say was, none of this is to say people have to be like super dialed in and caring about the Open. I think everyone saw like how cool of an event it was.
Yeah.
And even the people that were on the fence about doing it, who we like razzed about signing up.
Chad Cheney.
Yeah, people like that. I mean, but dude, I hope that they know when we razz them, like Chad and Nicole, for example.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, I think they're studs. Like they're just good athletes.
We want to watch them.
Yeah. And so like, of
In
course.
the pervious way possible. We just want to watch people work out.
So like, there's.
Substatia.
We're really putting it out there tonight.
I think Stacey's really like taking advantage of the fact she can edit shit. And so yeah. Yeah, no. And I think, you know, obviously like we see them sign up, they have fun and whatever, but that's not to be like, all right, next year we're expecting you to have all this stuff dialed in. It's if you guys want to dial things in, hopefully you get some use out of this. You know, and you can kind of like go to one of us and be like, yo, what do you think I should do? Yeah. And we can help you out. But if you're someone who just likes coming to class and it's just like you know, hey man, it's on my drive home from work. Love the place, love the people, blah, blah, blah. That's fine. We don't look at you any differently if that's who you are versus someone who's like, man, the Open really lit a fire into my ass. So don't take this as everyone has to be feeling that. I think that everyone does want to be better. So no matter what that looks like, if that means you want to get a ring muscle up, if that means, you know, you want to like fit into whatever outfit that you used to fit into 2-3 years ago, or whatever your, you know, measure of success is, that's what the Open kind of like highlights. It's the one time a year that as a gym, from a camaraderie standpoint, we can look at something performance-wise and be like, damn, that was cool. How do we all do? How do we all feel? Where can we go from here?
Yeah.
Right?
Well said.
Yeah. And with that, thank you. We're gonna wrap it up here, everybody.
I'm Mick Donner.
I'm Mick Donner.
I think the real unfortunate part about this being over is that we might not see the news anchors for a minute.
Oh, damn, yeah.
Fiddlesticks.
We'll bring that back. We'll find a way to.
Oh, no one was asking.
Guys, smash that like button if you want to see the news anchors make a return.
But they will, whether you like it or not.
All right, closing thoughts on Open and or anything gym related. Ian, we're going to start with you.
Cool. Let's say Open is just a catalyst for some sort of direction. And so if that's like showing up harder at the gym, cool. If that's feeling better in your normal life, cool. Open is just a way to kind of kickstart that.
Nice, Mick.
Sometimes growth doesn't happen in the way you think, and sometimes it happens in ways that are not like physical manifestations, but instead like better mindset and mental things that aren't shown in the leaderboard.
My takeaway is fitness is cool, but friends are better. And when I think about the Open, okay, just let me explain this real quick.
I'm just going to hover.
The sad tremble.
Whenever I think about the Open, I just think about what it does for a group of people.
Yeah.
Right? I think what it does for a group of adults that don't get a lot of opportunities to do silly, ridiculous stuff as adults. And not only do that, but like make some new friends or just like have good conversations with people that they have a common interest. And I don't know, just like have a good time. Like I definitely saw like more people connecting, and I know you guys hate me for this, but that's what matters.
Real before Mike, if you're going to close this off, who had the best text thread? Like, I think we all had some sort of communication going.
It was not cold-blooded killers. We were nice and to the point.
Nice and to the point. All right.
My team was super supportive. Like we got a lot of cool pictures and likes and loves. So we had.
Okay, yeah, we did that too.
Yeah.
That was more vibe.
I think you probably did. I mean, my text thread was great. We were big giffers. We were sending a lot of gifts. Okay. We had a lot of people like post outfit ideas. Some people went to Party for Less, looked stuff up online, like, hey, can I bring this, like, you know, this this like studded choker in for Friday Night Lights, and then no one.
You must be daddy.
Ian, how did you feel about your thread?
Well, I was just hearing you say all that, and I think it's clear how you won the spirit.
Was your thread not like that?
Not to that level. No,
Oh,
I
wow.
think like ours was really dialed with like workout strategy and that sort of thing. Like
yeah.
we were popping on Thursdays and Fridays.
Yeah.
I think like there was a lot of support with the actual like workout itself.
Yeah.
But just hearing you say that, like, I mean, to me, that's
Oh yeah.
that's how your team won.
Okay.
The spirit
I
right
agree
there,
with
you
that.
know?
Well, I will say that comes at a price. Comes with a price. Comes at a price, and the price is, I think my
Seeing
whole
Levi in
team.
the crop top.
That was a prize, not a price. The price is, I think my whole team thinks I'm a loser. I had to start the thread with like this big message that was like, look, guys, I have no life. I'm taking this really seriously. I picked you for a reason. Everyone, yeah, oh yeah. Fully leaned in.
Threatened everybody one at a time. Like, I'm outside your house right now.
Zero sexy indifference there. Hey guys, I love you so much.
Yeah, I think it's like a college coach. It's going to work for a short amount of time. Next year, it's not going to hit the same. So we'll see.
You can't say shit because you said you told your members you were cutting off all their membership.
Who knows? Who knows?
That was off the record.
Oh, sorry.
Blast.
Cut that out. Cut that out.
No, don't. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You guys, we all want.
I didn't get my takeaway. My final say. Okay. Here's the deal. This is serious. I always tell people, if I can do this, you guys can do it. Maybe not coaching, but in terms of like, if you have ever found yourself being like, wow, man, Mike is such a good athlete. No, I'm not. And the only reason that I'm a salmon swimming upstream genetically. I'm not trying to diss myself here just to be funny.
Trevor
I'm trying
is
to
stronger.
I'm trying to make a point. I'm trying to make a point that everybody, like, there's a common saying, like, a coach wants more for his client than the client wants for themselves usually, or the athlete or the member or whatever. I know it's cheesy, but when I look at everybody, I think, wow, like, what a blank canvas. If they did X, Y, and Z, imagine where they could be. They don't even know that. And so it just, you guys, if you really think, if you want to maximize your potential, talk to one of us about it. And we can give you, and I'm not going to lie to you guys about like, well, yeah, Ian got there in a year, so that should be the same for you. Like, everyone's going to have a different looking road, but that road is probably something that you guys don't even know that you're capable of. So the cheese factor is going up to a 10 here, but I'm being for real. Like, I've always said this. I said this to a group of people in 2018 when I gave a nutrition talk at the gym. I thought there was going to be guys at the gym. I said, I guarantee one of you guys is going to beat me in the open this year. And everyone was like, oh, cool. Wow, great. Way to put yourself on a... But what I really meant was, no, I'm serious. Like, I think if you guys just come and do the workouts, et cetera, that you will. And then that year, Katie and Stacy beat me at the open. And so they weren't the people that I thought were going to do that, but they were the ones who dialed everything else in. And now that's kind of like a big part of their identity. And so I just...
Beating you?
among other things. And then, yeah, I just think about, who else is next in line for that sort of thing. That's exciting to me.
Yeah.
And we're seeing it happen now with other people at the gym that I'm thinking about at West. And then, yeah, so that's my last little bit.
Mike's
Mike,
thinking about you guys.
Everyone beat you this year.
I think that's a real nice place to end it right there.
Yeah.
But I think just lastly, we appreciate everybody doing it and signing up. And even though you guys wanted to make fun of me about how it brings people together, we all just agreed that that was the main thing, right? And that we believe in you guys and we all want to help. And I don't know, it's a pretty cool community. And yeah, let's get fit together, right? That's the worst thing that I've ever said.
That was really
Hoorah.
That's the worst thing. I'll cut that all out. All right, you guys you want to take us out, Mick?
All right, team. We hope you enjoyed this podcast video thing. We hope you laughed as much as we did. Probably not because we're not that funny. We will see you guys in the gym. Catch you later.